to calm down so I don't cuss none of y'all out real quick. Hold on. Okay. For all those people that are in my comments and on my posts talking about why don't you hold your son accountable? Who the fuck y'all think I'm talking to? Who do y'all think I'm talking to? You think I'm talking about the mistake people that he out here entertaining? You think I'm talking to them? I have all them people blocked, so why would I be talking to them? I'm talking to my son, and I'm talking to anybody that he entertains in the future. Okay? I'm letting the future people know that you should get yourself in order before you come over here, because I'm gonna talk. Then why you ain't holding your son accountable? Who the fuck you think I'm talking to? The rejects of America? Why would I be talking to the rejects of a fuck America that's looking for the land to land a home through somebody that ain't even ready to give nobody no home yet? Why would I be talking to them? This is lost cause.
Nobody had Karlissa waking up and choosing absolute violence on their bingo card. Yet here we are, just when the internet thought the Blueface universe couldn't get any messier. Karlissa allegedly kicked the door in, flipped the table, and dropped a claim so reckless it made TMZ interns choke on their coffee. According to her, Neveah isn't just struggling, she's pregnant, broke, and begging, yes, all three, at the same time, like a reality show plot written by someone who hates peace. This wasn't whispered in a DM or leaked through a cousin's cousin. This was thrown into the public arena like a grenade with the pin already pulled. 1 second the internet was minding its business. The next second it felt like a secret folder accidentally opened on live stream. People froze, screenshots flew, group chats caught fire. And suddenly everyone was asking the same question: did Karlissa just expose something real? Or did she just create the next viral scandal out of thin air? The energy shifted instantly. This wasn't tea. This wasn't shade. This was a full-blown accusation marathon with zero commercial breaks. The kind of moment where the Kardashians would quietly take notes and say, yeah, that's wild. Buckle up, because once this door opened, nothing behind it stayed quiet. Nobody saw this coming. And that's exactly why it hit like a flashbang grenade on the timeline. 1 minute the internet was minding its business, scrolling through the usual recycled drama. And the next minute Karlissa stepped to the mic and dropped a claim so reckless it made reality TV look and. She didn't tease it, she didn't hint it, she didn't soft launch it like a celebrity pregnancy reveal. She detonated it. According to Karlissa, Neveah isn't just down bad. She's allegedly pregnant, broke, and begging, a triple threat accusation that sent social media into DEFCON 1. Now, let's be clear, because this is where things get spicy. And legally spicy adjacent. These are allegations, claims, and internet statements swirling around like a hurricane of chaos, not courtroom verdicts or DNA results. But when Karlissa speaks, history says people listen, screens record, and timelines explode. This wasn't whispered in a DM or slipped into a comment section. This was said with chest, confidence, and just enough vagueness to make everyone lean closer. It felt like one of those moments where the room goes quiet, the music cuts off, and someone says, "Y'all not ready for this." Karlissa has never been known for subtlety, but this time she skipped the warm-up entirely. No foreplay, no easing into the conversation. Just straight to the jugular with a narrative that painted Neveah as a cautionary tale wrapped in chaos. Pregnant, broke, begging. 3 words that carry enough stigma to light the internet on fire before breakfast. And the way she said it made it feel less like gossip and more like she'd been waiting for the right moment to unload the clip. The backstory matters here, because this didn't fall out of the sky. This saga lives in a universe where family, drama, relationship fallout, and internet beef collide like a multi-car pileup with no survivors. Karlissa isn't some random commenter throwing stones from a burner account. She's a central character who's been watching this storyline unfold from the front row. That's what makes her words hit harder, because people assume proximity equals insight, even when it absolutely does not. As soon as the words landed, Reaction channels clocked in like it was overtime, screenshots flew, clips got replayed in slow motion, and captions started screaming in all caps like the internet had just discovered fire again. Some viewers treated Karlissa like a whistleblower exposing a hidden truth, while others accused her of kicking someone while they were ALLEGDLY already down. The divide was instant and vicious, because nothing fuels engagement like a woman's alleged pregnancy mixed with money problems and public humiliation. And here's where the tension really starts cooking. Neveah, at that moment, was silent. No clapback, no denial, no Instagram story with cryptic song lyrics and sad eyes. Just absence. And on the internet, silence isn't neutral, it's suspicious. People don't wait for confirmation anymore. They treat quiet like a confession. And that vacuum gave Karlissa's claims room to metastasize into full-blown conspiracy. Memes appeared faster than facts because of course they did. The internet doesn't verify, it vibes. And the vibe was messy. People started dissecting old photos, zooming in like FBI agents with Wi-Fi, analyzing outfits, posture, and facial expressions like pregnancy could be diagnosed through pixel math. Others started counting timelines, connecting dots that may or may not exist, and suddenly everyone was an expert with a theory and zero credentials. Karlissa's tone didn't help de-escalate anything either. There was no allegedly safety net, no careful wording to soften the blow. It was delivered with that signature blend of confidence and confrontation that makes people feel like they're watching a live courtroom drama without a judge. The way she spoke suggested she believed every syllable, and belief is contagious, especially when it's broadcast loudly enough. What made it even more explosive was the way the narrative framed Neveah's alleged situation. This wasn't just about pregnancy rumors. It was about status, survival, and public perception. Being labeled broke and begging in the same breath is internet death row. Because the culture treats financial struggle like a moral failure instead of a circumstance. Karlissa didn't just question Neveah's life choices. She painted a picture of desperation, and the internet loves nothing more than a downfall arc. Critics immediately accused Karlissa of crossing a line, saying this wasn't tea, it was cruelty. Supporters fired back just as fast, claiming she was telling the truth that nobody else wanted to say out loud. And that's the dangerous middle ground where unverified claims become entertainment, and entertainment becomes belief. Once a story hits that stage, facts become optional and feelings run the show. Meanwhile, every past interaction between Karlissa and Neveah got dragged back into the spotlight like old receipts pulled from a dusty drawer. People replayed previous arguments, old shade, subtle jabs that once seemed harmless but now looked predictive. The internet loves retroactive prophecy, acting like every argument was foreshadowing for the current scandal. It's the same playbook every time, and it works because people want the chaos to make sense. And let's not ignore the timing, because timing is never accidental in internet warfare. This didn't drop on a quiet day. It hit when attention was already primed for drama. Algorithms reward outrage, and Karlissa knows how to speak the algorithm's love language fluently. Whether intentional or not, this bombshell landed perfectly in the content ecosystem, guaranteeing maximum spread with minimum resistance. Still, the biggest question hung in the air like smoke after an explosion. Why now? Why say this way? At this moment, was it frustration boiling over, a strategic move, or something more personal simmering under the surface? When someone unloads allegations this heavy, people assume there's motive, even if none is proven. As the first wave of reactions crashed, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't going to stay contained. This wasn't a one-day scandal that burns bright and disappears by morning. This was the kind of allegation that sticks, morphs, and evolves, dragging everyone nearby into the mess whether they asked for it or not. And with Neveah still silent, the internet filled in the blanks with imagination instead of information. By the end of the night, the narrative had already grown legs. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds, reaction videos stacked up like dominoes, and people started choosing sides without knowing the rules of the game. Karlissa had successfully shifted the spotlight, and once the spotlight moves, it rarely goes back to where it started. The real fallout hadn't even begun yet, and everyone could feel it by the time the sun came back up. This story had already evolved into something unrecognizable from the original claim. What started as Karlissa allegedly dropping a reckless sentence had now turned into a full-scale internet spectacle, complete with side characters, conspiracy theories, and people who had absolutely nothing to do with the situation somehow becoming experts overnight. This wasn't gossip anymore. This was a cultural event, the kind where everyone pretends they hate it while refreshing their feed every 10 seconds. The memes alone could have powered a small city. Screenshots were chopped, cropped, captioned, and repackaged like fast fashion drama. Every facial expression Karlissa ever made was suddenly treated like evidence, and every old clip of Neveah was pulled out like it had been sealed in an evidence locker. The internet did what it does best: exaggerate, remix, and completely abandon context. Pregnancy jokes collided with broke jokes, and suddenly compassion was nowhere to be found. Then came the reaction videos, because chaos without commentary is apparently illegal. You had creators leaning into the camera whispering like they were revealing classified information, others yelling like sports commentators watching a last-second knockout. Some tried to play neutral and failed miserably. Others picked sides immediately. Because balance doesn't get views and outrage pays rent, the story grew teeth, and it bit everyone who touched it. What really sent this into the stratosphere was the way other public figures started circling the conversation without fully stepping in. Cryptic posts appeared, vague captions, subtle likes. The digital equivalent of people peeking through blinds to see which house the cops pulled up to. Nobody wanted to say too much, but nobody wanted to miss the moment either. Silence became strategic, and vague became louder than facts. Pop culture comparisons flooded the timeline like lazy shortcuts, but some of them hit a little too close. People joked that this made love and hip-hop look like a Disney Channel original movie. Others said this was reality TV without contracts, where everyone gets exploited and nobody gets paid. One viral comment said the whole situation felt like a season finale cliffhanger written by chaos itself, and honestly, that wasn't far off. Meanwhile, Neveah's continued silence turned from curiosity into obsession. Every hour without a response became its own headline. People weren't asking if the claims were true anymore. They were asking why she hadn't said anything yet. In internet logic, time equals guilt, even though real life doesn't work that way. The longer she stayed quiet, the more the narrative hardened around Karlissa's version of events. And Karlissa didn't exactly help cool things down, whether intentionally or not. Her energy stayed confrontational, confident, and unapologetic. No backtracking, no clarifying statements, no "y'all misunderstood me." Just the same unwavering posture that told the internet she wasn't losing sleep over any of this. That confidence alone convinced some viewers that she had receipts tucked away somewhere, even if nobody ever saw them. Outrage grew louder, but so did support. There was a strange group of people cheering this on like it was accountability theater, framing Karlissa as someone exposing uncomfortable truths. On the other side, critics accused her of weaponizing humiliation, saying this wasn't exposure, it was exploitation. The comment sections turned into digital boxing rings where empathy and cruelty traded punches nonstop. Then the jokes got darker, because that's always the next step. Being broke became a punchline. Begging became a meme format. Pregnancy rumors became speculation fodder for people who've never met Neveah and never will. The humanity of it all got buried under engagement metrics, proving once again that the internet doesn't just consume drama, it devours people. What really escalated things was how every small detail suddenly felt loaded. A song lyric posted by Neveah months ago was reinterpreted as foreshadowing. An old photo was analyzed like it was a secret message. people acted like hindsight was evidence. Rewriting history in real time to fit the current chaos. It was less investigation and more fan fiction disguised as analysis. At the same time, the narrative started mutating. Some claimed Karlissa was exaggerating, others said she was understating things. New rumors piggybacked off the original claim, stacking speculation on speculation like a Jenga tower built on vibes alone. Once that happens, truth becomes irrelevant. Because the story has outgrown it. What made this phase especially dangerous was how normalized the cruelty became. People weren't shocked anymore. They were entertained. Scrolling through the comments felt like walking through a crowd watching a public shaming. Phones out. Jokes loaded. Empathy optional. The scandal wasn't just trending, it was being enjoyed, and that enjoyment fueled its growth. Then came the armchair psychology. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion about Karlissa's motives. Some said this was jealousy, others said it was protection, a few said it was pure clout farming. The truth is probably messier than all of that, but the internet doesn't care about nuance. It wants villains and heroes, and it assigns them fast. Neveah's name was now permanently attached to words he never chose, and that's the real power of a viral accusation. Even if denied later, even if disproven, the stain lingers. Screenshots don't expire. Search bars remember everything. And while people debated intent, the impact was already doing damage in real time. By this point, it was clear this wasn't just a feud anymore. This was a reputation wildfire, and no one was sure who would be left standing when the smoke cleared. Every refresh brought a new take, a new clip, a new opinion disguised as fact. The story had reached the phase where it feeds itself, no longer needing fresh information to survive. And just when it felt like the chaos had peaked, the tone began to shift. Not toward resolution, but toward consequence. Because when allegations go this far, when names trend this hard, something always breaks. Relationships strain, public perception calcifies. And the internet, once entertained, moves on without cleaning up the wreckage. By the time the noise started to die down, the damage had already settled in like smoke after a fire. This is the phase nobody clips for memes and nobody screenshots for laughs, because it's quieter, heavier, and far less entertaining. The internet loves the explosion, but it never sticks around to help clean up the rubble. And make no mistake, this situation left rubble everywhere. Neveah's name had now been welded to a narrative she didn't write, didn't confirm, and didn't consent to. That's the real brutality of viral accusations. Even if nothing else ever comes out, even if the claims fade, the association doesn't. Google doesn't forget. Comment sections don't forgive. And the internet doesn't issue retractions with the same energy it delivers outrage. Once a label sticks, it becomes shorthand, and shorthand becomes identity in online culture. What followed was a slow, uncomfortable shift in how people talked about her. Sympathy mixed with skepticism. Support came wrapped in side eyes. Even defenders felt the need to preface their comments with "if it's not true," which says everything about how far the narrative had already gone. When doubt becomes baked into support, reputational damage is already complete. Karlissa, on the other hand, walked away from the explosion with her presence louder than ever. Love her or hate her, the spotlight followed her like a shadow. Some praised her for keeping it real. Others accused her of recklessness, cruelty, and playing judge, jury, and executioner on a public stage. But attention doesn't differentiate between praise and backlash. It just counts clicks, and Karlissa stayed winning in that department. That's the uncomfortable truth nobody likes to admit. In the economy of internet drama, controversy pays better than restraint. Silence doesn't trend, nuance doesn't go viral, and Karlissa's words, whether rooted in truth, assumption, or pure frustration, dominated the conversation long after the original shock wore off. In a world where relevance is survival, she remained very much alive in the algorithm. But relationships don't survive algorithms the same way. Behind the scenes, tensions hardened. Lines were drawn thicker, bridges that were already cracked finally collapsed. Because once accusations reach this level, there's no such thing as just moving on. Even private apologies, if they happen at all, don't erase public humiliation. Some damage only exists because it was witnessed. The public perception of everyone involved shifted subtly but permanently. Karlissa became even more polarizing, solidifying her role as the unfiltered voice who says what others won't. Neveah, fairly or unfairly, became framed through a lens of instability and speculation. And the wider circle learned a familiar lesson the hard way. Proximity to chaos eventually pulls you into it, whether you participate or not. What makes this stage particularly haunting is the lack of closure. There was no dramatic confession, no tearful denial that reset the narrative, no clean resolution that let viewers feel justified in their opinions. Just a slow fade into new distractions, leaving unanswered questions floating like debris. The internet hates loose ends, but it creates them constantly. And here's where the real clarity sets in. The kind nobody wants to hear. This situation stopped being about truth a long time ago. It became about power, about who controls the story, who gets believed, and who gets drowned out. In digital spaces, volume often beats accuracy, and confidence can outweigh evidence. Karlissa spoke loudly, Neveah did not. The imbalance alone shaped the outcome. Future opportunities don't operate in a vacuum either. Brands watch, audiences judge, associations get reconsidered quietly, without announcements or explanations. That's the invisible consequence of public scandal. Doors don't slam shut, they simply stop opening, and the people affected often never know exactly which moment cost them what. The irony is that the internet will eventually move on, like it always does. A new scandal will trend, a new villain will be crowned, a new rumor will replace this one. But the people at the center don't get that luxury. They live with the residue, with strangers feeling entitled to opinions about their lives based on half-formed narratives and recycled screenshots. Karlissa's bombshell achieved exactly what viral moments always do. It entertained, divided, and dominated attention. Whether it exposed truth or amplified harm depends entirely on who you ask. But one thing is undeniable: it reshaped the landscape. After this, nothing returns to how it was before, only to something quieter and more complicated. And that's the real punchline. Not the memes, not the outrage, not even the allegations themselves. It's the realization that in the age of viral drama, the story doesn't end when the noise stops. It just sinks deeper, waiting for the next moment someone decides to dig it back up. Because if there's one thing this saga proved, it's that in this universe, silence isn't peace. Truth isn't required, and chaos never actually clocks out. It just waits for its next headline. And now that the smoke has settled just enough to breathe, let's be honest with ourselves for a second. If you watched this entire breakdown without flinching, you already know this saga isn't over. Not even close. Stories like this don't disappear, they hibernate. They wait for the next live stream, the next slip of the tongue, the next accidental post that turns the internet upside down all over again. So if you've got opinions, theories, or hot takes you've been holding back, drop them in the comments right now. Do you think Karlissa exposed something real? Or did she just light a match and walk away from the fire? Is Neveah protecting her peace? Or is silence doing more damage than any response ever could? Say it with your chest, because this comment section is the real after party. And if this breakdown had you leaning closer to the screen, hit that like button like it owes you money and just try to deck the bill. Likes tell the algorithm we're not done talking about this. And trust me, the internet listens when numbers start screaming. While you're at it, subscribe and turn on notifications, because scandals don't wait for permission, and neither do we. This channel doesn't do sugar-coated narratives or PR-friendly edits. We follow the chaos wherever it goes, call it the contradictions, and connect the dots nobody else wants to touch. When the next bombshell drops, and it will, you don't want to hear about it secondhand. Because in this digital jungle, rumors run fast, receipts run forever. And the truth usually shows up late wearing sunglasses. Stay locked in, stay skeptical, and stay ready. This is Celeb SYNC, where the drama never sleeps and the tea is always piping hot.